Wood pasture and parkland is a complex mosaic of habitats, providing benefits to both people and wildlife. It is characterised by ageing and old open-grown trees with decaying wood, surrounded by grassland or heathland, with scrub and flowering plants grazed by herbivores like cattle and ponies. If you own or manage a site like this, you may be lucky enough to have access to old maps or management plans which detail how the site was managed historically. These could be used to inform future management decisions, especially planting plans, and especially if you have a designed landscape as part of a feature of your site. Even when no historical documents are available, the remnants of past management may still be seen in the old trees around you. Pollards, for example, can be distinguished by their large bollings at the tops of their trunks and by their multi-stemmed shape. Pollarding is the practice of periodic cutting of branches, the products being used for animal fodder, fuel or charcoal, among other things. This management practice extends the life of the tree considerably and provides the right conditions for wood decay fungi, the recyclers of the natural world, to thrive and create wildlife habitat and ultimately new soil. If these trees are no longer in a cutting cycle, depending on the time since pollarding has lapsed, you may need to prune them back carefully, and it will be necessary to seek specialist advice. You might also consider creating new pollard trees with some of the younger trees on site. The shorter the pollard cycle, the easier and cheaper to manage in the future. Ancient and other veteran trees are the irreplaceable resource of wood pastures. In general, ancient trees should be left alone to live out their natural lifespan. The central wood decay and decaying wood in the crown support some of the rarest species, and so should be kept in the tree. If you have concerns about public safety or the condition of the tree, please seek advice from an arborist who specialises in ancient trees. Any limbs that fall should be left intact or as large as possible, and left where they fall or close by. Managing the land around the tree is as important as managing the trees themselves. Soil compaction can be caused by heavy footfall, congregating cattle, or vehicles and machinery. It can kill feeding roots and even damage structural roots, which can lead to branch loss or the death of the tree in extreme cases. Be aware of this when planning new tracks, car parks, or large events. Vulnerable old trees can be fenced or dead-hedged to protect them from grazing damage and soil compaction, and this will in turn protect people from any hazards posed by falling branches. Disturbance to grasslands, such as through ploughing, will damage the ancient soil structure and tree roots. This should be avoided in order not to damage the communities of mycorrhizal fungi, which have a close association with tree roots and help them gather water and essential nutrients. Grazing is the key to getting the appropriate habitat structure and balance of plants. The grazing pressure needs to be sufficient to maintain the open areas and allow some scrub to develop, but not too much to cause poaching and soil damage and harm to tree trunks and roots. If the numbers of grazing animals and the time of year they are on site is set appropriately, it shouldn't be necessary to provide extra food. Supplementary feeding can add nutrients to the grassland, which could damage fungi and plant diversity. On sites where grazing has lapsed or been insufficient, it may be necessary to release veteran trees from encroachment by other tall-growing trees and scrub which will be excluding light. Open-grown trees rely on open habitats to reach their full life expectancy. Overshading not only reduces a tree's suitability for many dependent species, but it may kill the tree itself. Without grazing, maintenance by mowing or flailing machinery will be required. The type of machinery and the timing of cutting need careful consideration so as to avoid compaction of the soils and to retain the variety of sward structure for invertebrate populations. To ensure the continuity of the habitat, wood pastures need trees across a range of ages. Where there are not enough young trees, ideally natural regeneration should be encouraged, either using protective scrub belts or by propagating and planting trees grown from seeds gathered on site. These will need protection from grazing animals. On the other hand, if there are too many young trees on site, some may be artificially veterinised by bark removal or chainsaw cutting techniques to speed up natural decay processes. There is now a better understanding of the benefits of different veterinisation techniques, and your local nature conservation advisor should be able to provide you with more information on these from a range of websites. Decaying wood invertebrates, some of which have larvae that live in wood decay inside old trees, also need food sources away from the trees for the adults when they emerge. For many species, this is provided by flowering scrub species. The balance between scrub and grassland or heath, therefore, is critical. Too much scrub, especially where it is allowing secondary woodland to grow through it, will reduce biodiversity in the long term. However, to support as wide a range of species as possible, different scrub species across the site flowering at different times throughout the year is important. Willow catkins provide early spring forage, followed by hawthorn flowers in May, then cow parsley, hogweed and bramble, with ivy flowers providing nectar and pollen well into November, especially important for hibernating insects. Thorny scrub can also protect young trees from grazing animals while they become established. With appropriate grazing animals at the right time of year and at the right stocking levels, you can achieve a good mix of open areas, old and younger trees, and scrub. Understanding how the many components of this mosaic habitat fit together and how they each benefit wildlife gives you the best chance of managing a wood pasture or a parkland site sensitively.